Hello, town of Wappinger, all of our friends, residents, businesses. I wanted to share with you some of my personal insights and experiences, observations from the SARS pandemic that hit back in 2003 time frame. As some of you are aware, I was living in Taiwan with my wife at the time. I was general counsel, senior vice president of Taiwan's largest business and the largest semiconductor manufacturer in the world, called Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. The outbreak of SARS was actually similar in many ways to what we're finding with COVID-19. In fact, they are, somewhat related. The DNA is related. However, SARS was not as virulent, as COVID-19 is. Nevertheless, many people died. Many people were affected by it. The first case that actually arose in the case of SARS occurred in November, December. The timing is still a little bit off, but 2002, which was reported first in Canton, southern China. Then the first case in Taiwan occurred on March the 10th, 2003, as a result of a Chinese resident in Canton flying over to Taiwan. There's a lot of interactivity there. And we were living in Hsinchu in the, kind of the north central part of Taiwan. After that first case on March 10th, it grew exponentially, very quickly, and lasted approximately 4 months before it got under control. And the SARS event, many of you will not remember it, but there were almost 7,000 cases worldwide. Taiwan had 664, cases, and there were travel advisories during the May, June, time period. In fact, I was unable to visit the United States then to attend my daughter's high school graduation and my son's college graduation at Cornell. What had happened then is everybody moved too slowly, caught everybody off guard, and had no idea what really the impact would be. Taiwan, as I said, was significantly impacted. 21% of the people infected in Taiwan died from the disease, while worldwide, 9.6% of the people died of the total worldwide number. I think I was like 770 or so people died worldwide, from that deadly disease. The point that I want to make is that today, Taiwan, a population of 24 million people, more than New York City and the surrounding area, because of lessons learned that I was involved with, it has 0 cases today active in Taiwan. That doesn't mean they're out of the woods. In fact, they are taking many precautionary measures to still maintain, whether it's social distancing, hygienic, in order to try not to have a relapse, which actually did occur in, the SARS situation. From July 1st, 2003 until today, the review and then ongoing analysis of what had happened during the SARS outbreak has been memorialized and actually, practiced. And as a corporate executive of TSMC, we, made a number of observations, and some of my personal observations is that this sort of virulent transmission can be brought under control, but a lot of the efforts that we're doing right now are crucial to doing that and not seeing an outburst. But there are some key things that I just want to pass on to people, because an important note is that this can be beaten. We can come out of this even stronger. In fact, Taiwan came out of it and got through the 2008, 2009, 2010 financial crisis in much better shape, because some of the discipline that it had learned from SARS also was applied then. And then, of course, COVID-19, while it was not immune from contamination, as I said, as of actually this morning, there are 0 cases now active within Taiwan, and only a very small death rate associated, with it, much smaller than anything else we're seeing anywhere around. Some of the observations I have, and what I think is relevant for us going forward, and I'll just identify a few of them for you, and some of them will be useful for individuals, some of them for the corporate world, and certainly some for the government world. One is that on a regular basis throughout the outbreak of SARS, but then continuing, we would take our temperatures regularly. In fact, I am still in that practice today. Now I use digital rather than a mercury powered one to do that. Taiwan, from July 1st to this day, has continued to monitor all arriving passengers on airlines or on ships. And when you go through the airports in Taiwan, you will see a monitor. You walk across actually a map that cleans off any contaminated soles or shoes. The customs reporting on have you been in any farms, any contact the livestock, etc. There is some of that here in the U.S., but very extensively done. When there is a fever indicated on the scanner, you have to go into quarantine, self-quarantine. So watching the temperatures of people that go above the 100-degree mark, which is still, people will range from 96 through 100 on any given day. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're sick. So they watch that. Taiwan initiated, I remember in the community in which we had lived, we had a community surveillance program. People don't like the word surveillance. It was not intrusive. It was a matter of communicating information, and reported it either to government authority or to a health authority, or in some cases a confidential source, and then tracking was enabled to watch the disease or watch the illness, and there are all sorts of diseases around the world, so they tracked those as well. The businesses became very important, and I have to stress here that all businesses, large or small, can play a key, crucial role going forward in helping to contain a relapse or spread of this disease going forward until there is some sort of vaccine that would be readily available. Masks. People hear a lot about Asians and masks. Well, SARS taught everyone a lesson, and it actually ended up reducing a lot more in the way of colds, flu over the years, is wear your mask whenever you feel sick or whenever you feel sneeze. People even in town hall will mention to you that whenever I felt a cold or was sneezing or coughing, I would wear a mask to town hall to keep it from spreading to other people. So they are very, very important. There was established an infection prevention network. I think we're going to need to do that. And it's a combination of healthcare and non-healthcare organizations. The NGOs, the non-government organizations, played a key role. Organizations here, such as a Rotary or Kiwanis, I think can play an equally important role. In fact, if you look at the WHO and the donations contributions, there's been a lot of discussion in the social media recently because of the president's position on contributing to WHO. But one of the largest donators to WHO is, guess what? It's the Rotary International. They're a huge contributor, to this. And I think Rotary, which was large organization, I was a member of it in Taiwan, really became a very effective participant in this infection prevention network. Taiwan immediately started to put into place biosafety regime and regulations for its laboratories across the board, whether it's blood testing or it's in the research and development area. There would be an ongoing, healthcare assessment that I believe is also going to be important. We're going to have to reshape our healthcare, system. And I'm not talking about universal health care, that sort of thing, but some fundamental practices in the community, starting with a town such as Wappinger, are going to need to be involved. In fact, I believe that we should have probably going forward as part of whether it's an environmental or whatever, some committee that may help us better design as part of our what's going to be revised an emergency preparedness plan. We discussed that at the board meeting on the 13th, going forward, and then various upgrades going on. The self-quarantines, I think, will become more of a fact of life going forward. I think that the health care, medical insurance is going to need to address that, just as we did in Taiwan. So I see a number of key criteria that this country, starting with the local grassroots going up, can put in place in order to prevent, or certainly mitigate, this sort of event from happening again, and hopefully where no lives are lost, and you reduce this to a cold type of approach. And therefore, I will be sharing some of my thoughts and observations with government officials above me, but I just wanted to pass this on to you to first let you know that despite the darkest hours we're going through right now, this can be won. This battle can be won. And the ongoing benefits to us in a healthy lifestyle, we should be able to learn from these lessons going forward. So please be safe, remain healthy, and have the best day that you can in the tough days ahead. Thank you very much.